you ought to pinpoint right about that corner. And do you call the film The History About Washington Lee Mock Convention? All right.
Boy Scout group?
No, they're part of the film. Okay, the first question.
Forget it.
Senator,
Don't worry about it.
Can you, the first thing can you say is, I'm Senator...
Hey, look, I'll deal with it. You just say go.
Okay, Senator Warner, introduce yourself.
All right. Hi there. I'm John Warner, and I am privileged to be a part of this documentary about Washington and Lee, and more specifically about the old mock convention, which I addressed twice. I thought this would be an appropriate place because I ran up and down these stairs right here for 30 years and hold the record as the second longest serving United States Senator in the history of Virginia. Only one other did 32 as I did 30. That was Harry Byrd Sr., a governor and then U.S. Senator with a distinguished career. Now you might ask, how did this all get started? Well, it started with my father, who graduated in 1903 from Washington and Lee University and became a school teacher at a one-room boys' academy up in the Valley of Virginia, then on into medical practice. But he instilled in me the values of Washington and Lee. In World War II, I went off like everybody else to do my bit. 17 years old, joined the Navy. And when I came back out at age 19, I went to Washington Lee University. That was Father's dream. And there were my friends and the foundation and the values which enabled me to have this public service career here. And I was privileged to address the convention twice, and I kind of think it was the seeds of the mock convention that instilled in me the desire someday to do public service. I'm Secretary of the Navy, that's an executive branch, then went to the legislative branch, the United States Senate. And so I thank Washington and Lee and urge all those who are considering their careers, take part in the convention. And maybe you'll get the bug like I did, to step out and go into politics. Now, politics is important to this country. It's just not Democrat, Republican, or Independent. I experienced all of those things in my 30 years in the Senate. It's the fact that you're willing to step aside in your life's career and say, I want to serve my country. Now, in the executive branch, you sit in a swivel chair. If you're going to go into elected politics, you got to learn to use this hand. And it takes a little courage to stick it out and say, I need your vote. And I learned that at the mock convention, which is a good historical precedent, not only for the school, but for the future Washington Lee students. So go to it, folks, and I hope you have the luck that I had. But again, it all traces back to my dad and to Washington and Lee, and in part to the mock convention. Good luck. There's your piece.
Okay, we're rolling.
You know, as we do this documentary, you ought to record the fact that 29 individuals, graduates of Washington Lee, have become U.S. Senators. Over 60 have become members of the House of Representatives right next door. A number of governors and mayors and Supreme Court justices. And today there are over 300 students, former students, serving in the executive branch of our government. All this public service. Our great republic, which is the oldest continuously functioning democratic republic in the world, is dependent on people like that stepping forward for public service, be it in elective office, like I'm proud of, or in executive branch. And it may well be the state legislature, or even mayor back home. There's nothing tougher than being a mayor. Tell me. I didn't want that opportunity, but I worked with a lot. Good luck. All right, bye-bye.
It's very impressive that Washington and Lee has had that many graduates.
It is impressive. Okay. Isn't it a beautiful grounds?
It is.
Well,
Great place to work.
well, now that depends on the day and the year and the time.
Well,
I enjoyed it. I went through a lot of rough times. Came to the bottom. My office was right in that corner. See that building there? See that window? That was part of my office. Now, I had 9 rooms, but that was one of them. And right across from me was the Armed Services Committee, where I was chairman 3 times. So that's a lot of service.
so you could just look out the window and see what was going on.
I did, and I planted 2 Virginia dogwood trees, which are still living out there. 1 pink, 1 white.
I like that. You want to sit down a minute here?
Nope, I'm going to keep pressing.